$87. That's what a single bag of premium cool season grass seed costs you this spring at the big box store, and you're about to need 3 of them. You walk out to your lawn on a Saturday morning, coffee in hand, the sun is hitting the fence line just right, and then you see it again, those same thin, washed out patches near the edge, the same bare strip by the walkway, the same tired green that never looks like the neighbor's. And the guy in the orange apron told you the same thing he told you last April. Rake it, throw seed on it, water it, wait. The lawn care industry has trained you to believe overseeding is the answer to every weak spot because overseeding is what sells bags. But here's the truth. Most homeowners never hear overseeding a struggling lawn is one of the slowest, most expensive, and most failure-prone things you can do. And the reason your lawn looks the same every July is that you've been pouring seed onto soil that was never going to grow it in the first place. Most people scratch the dirt with a rake, broadcast seed by hand, set a sprinkler, and then watch half of it wash into the street during the first hard rain, while the birds eat another 20% before sundown. Then nothing changes, same patches. Same money gone, same Saturday next spring. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 2 completely different problems hiding inside that one tired lawn. The first is the patch problem everybody can see. The second is the soil problem nobody talks about. And then I'm going to show you the old Amish method that has quietly been used on working farmsteads for over 100 years. The method that is the entire reason this video exists. The one that costs almost nothing and works faster than any bag of seed you can buy. But before I name it, ask yourself this. If seed alone actually worked, why does your lawn need it again every single year? Part 1 is the patch problem, the thin, ugly, bare-looking spots that drive you crazy every spring. And we start here because this is the version of the problem you can actually see from the kitchen window. Here's what you instinctively do. You grab the rake, you scratch the dead thatch off the top, you sprinkle seed straight out of the bag onto the bare dirt, and you stand there feeling like you just fixed it. It feels productive. It feels like progress. But underneath your feet, almost nothing useful is happening. Grass seed needs constant contact with moist soil for 14 to 21 days to germinate, and it needs to stay between roughly 50 and 65 degrees in the root zone the entire time. When you broadcast seed onto open dirt, somewhere between 60 and 80% of it never germinates. It dries out in the afternoon sun within 2 hours of your sprinkler shutting off. It gets eaten by sparrows and starlings, or it washes 3 feet sideways the first time it rains hard. So you think you put down 4 pounds of seed per 1,000 square feet, but biologically you put down maybe 1. Most people believe a thin lawn is a seed problem, but actually a thin lawn is a contact problem. Seed that never touches moist soil is just expensive bird food. The fix, from simplest to most advanced, goes like this. First, before you spend $1 on seed, take a stiff garden rake and scarify the patch hard enough to break the top 1/4 inch of crust. You want to see dark soil, not gray dust, because seed sitting on crusted soil germinates at less than 15%. Second, after you broadcast at the rate on the bag, which for tall fescue is around 6 to 8 pounds per 1,000 square feet, cover the seed with a 1/4 inch of screened compost or fine topsoil, not more, because seed buried deeper than a 1/2 inch will exhaust itself before it reaches light. Third, if you've got the budget, lay a thin layer of clean wheat straw, about 1 bale per 300 square feet, which holds moisture in the top inch of soil and cuts your watering frequency from 3 times a day down to 1. Skip these steps and here's what you lose. 6 weeks of growing season, $40 to $60 of wasted seed per patch, and a window of cool weather that will not come back until October. The prevention tip that applies to every single patch on your property is this: never seed without covering. Bare seed on bare dirt is the single most common reason your lawn looks the same in July as it did in April. If this is the kind of thing nobody bothers to tell you in the garden aisle, do me one small favor and hit the subscribe button right now, because every video on this channel is built to show you what the industry quietly leaves out. One click and we keep going. Part 2 is a completely different problem, and it's the one almost nobody diagnoses correctly because you can't see it from the kitchen window. It's happening 4 inches below the surface. Here's the thesis. Your lawn isn't thin because it's missing seed. Your lawn is thin because the soil underneath it is compacted, starved, and biologically dead, and no amount of seed will fix dirt that can't grow grass. The universal mistake here is dumping more nitrogen fertilizer on a stressed lawn in May or June, thinking you're feeding it, when what you're actually doing is forcing weak top growth on roots that are suffocating. The catastrophic consequence shows up 6 to 8 weeks later as a yellow, drought-stricken mess in mid-July that takes the rest of the season to recover, and sometimes doesn't recover until the following spring. Most people think their lawn is hungry, but actually their soil is choking. So here's how you fix it, building from cheapest to most specialized. Method 1. The floor. Costs you nothing but an afternoon push, a garden fork 8 inches into the soil every 6 inches across the worst patches and rock it back and forth, breaking the compaction layer. Roots can't push through soil that has been packed by years of mowing and foot traffic to a density above 1.6 grams per cubic centimeter, and the fork mechanically opens channels for air and water to reach the root zone. Method 2 costs about $40 and takes a Saturday rent, a core aerator from the hardware store, pull plugs 2.5 to 3 inches deep across the entire lawn, then leave the plugs on the surface to break down. The holes themselves drop soil density by 15 to 20% for the next 6 months, which is the single biggest physical change you can make to tired ground. Method 3 is the one a professional would actually reach for after aerating, top dress the entire lawn with a 1/4 inch of screen compost, roughly 1 cubic yard per 1,000 square feet, which delivers active microbial life, slow release organic nitrogen at around 1 to 2%, and humus that holds 3 times its weight in water. That compost feeds the soil biology for the next 18 months, and within 1 full season, you'll watch grass thicken in spots where you never even threw seed, because healthy soil grows grass on its own from the seed bank already sitting in the ground. Part 3, prevention. And this is the moment I promised you at the start, the old Amish way. The method that is the entire reason this video exists. The Amish have been maintaining pasture and farmstead lawns for over 150 years without buying a single bag of premium seed, and the core of their approach is something most homeowners have literally never been told to do. It's called dormant frost seeding combined with a thin compost top dress, and here is how it works mechanically. In late winter, when the soil surface freezes at night and thaws during the day, that window is typically late February through mid-March. In most of the US and UK, you broadcast seed directly onto the frozen ground at about half normal rate, around 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet, and you let the freeze-thaw cycle do the work for you. Every time the soil expands and contracts, it cracks open millions of tiny seed-sized pockets, pulls the seed down into perfect contact with the soil, and then closes back over it. No raking, no straw, no sprinklers, no bird damage, because by the time birds are active, the seed is already buried by the soil itself. By the time the ground warms to 50 degrees in April, that seed is already nestled exactly where it needs to be, and germination rates run between 70 and 85%, roughly double what you get from a spring broadcast. The tool is a hand-cranked chest spreader that costs about $25 and lasts a lifetime. You walk the lawn once, in 2 passes at right angles, on a morning when the ground is still crisp underfoot. That's it. The compost top dress, a 1/4 inch laid down in early spring, feeds the new seedlings as they emerge and protects the soil surface from crusting. The total cost for a typical 1/4 acre lawn runs you about $35 in seed and $40 in compost, under $80 for the entire property, compared to the $260 you'd spend on 3 bags of premium seed and a starter fertilizer, and it saves you roughly 12 hours of watering, raking, and reseeding every single spring. Now, which one is for you? If you've got a small city lot with 2 or 3 ugly patches near the fence, stick with part 1, scarify, seed, cover with compost, done in an afternoon. If you've got a larger suburban property where the whole lawn looks tired and the soil feels rock hard under your shoe, go straight to part 2 and aerate before you do anything else, because seeding compacted ground is throwing money at a sealed door. And if you've got a 1/2 acre or more, or you're tired of doing this every single year, the dormant frost seeding method is the one set a reminder for the last week of February. Walk it once and let winter do the labor you've been doing by hand for a decade. Now, here's the new problem you're about to run into, and I want to be very clear about this because it catches almost every homeowner off guard. Once your lawn actually thickens up the way it's supposed to, and it will, by early summer you're going to notice the mowing changes completely. Thicker grass grows faster, holds more moisture, and if you keep cutting it at the same height you've always cut it, you'll scalp it, stress it, and invite the exact brown patches you just spent all spring fixing. There's a specific mowing height and frequency rule that protects the new growth and locks in the thickness for the rest of the season, and it's not the one printed on the side of your mower. If you want me to walk you through that exact rule in the next video, drop the word mowing in the comments below so I know to make it next, and hit subscribe right now so it shows up in your feed the day it goes live. That's the loop. That's the next step. I'll see you in the next one. Before you click away though, I want to give you a few more details that didn't fit cleanly into the main walkthrough, because these are the small things that separate a lawn that looks decent for 3 weeks from a lawn that holds its color from April clear through to October. The first one is the seed itself. I've had people message me saying they followed every step and got patchy results, and 9 times out of 10 it traces back to the bag they bought at the big box store on a Saturday morning. A lot of those contract blends are heavy on annual ryegrass, which germinates in 5 to 7 days and looks fantastic for about 8 weeks before it dies back and leaves you with bare ground again. That's why it's cheap. The Amish growers I've talked to up around Lancaster County, particularly the families who've been selling pasture seeds since the 1940s, almost always recommend a blend that's at least 70% turf-type tall fescue with a small percentage of Kentucky bluegrass and a perennial rye nurse crop of no more than 15%. That ratio came out of decades of grazing trials, and it holds up in lawns just as well as it holds up in a sheep pasture. The second detail is water, and this one surprises people. If you're frost seeding in late February, you do not water. You do nothing. The freeze-thaw cycle handles every bit of soil-to-seed contact you need, and adding water in March only encourages the seed to germinate during a warm spell before a hard frost kills it. If you're seeding in early April with the rake and press method, you water lightly twice a day for the first 10 days, no more than a 15-minute pass with an oscillating sprinkler, and then you back off to once every other day for the next 2 weeks. Overwatering young seedlings is the #1 killer I see. Worse than birds, worse than wind, worse than a late frost. The roots stay shallow because they never have to reach for moisture, and the first dry week in June takes the whole lawn down with it. The third detail is what you don't put on the lawn. No starter fertilizer with weed preventer in it, not pre-emergent, not crabgrass control. Anything labeled with the word prevent on the front of the bag will stop your new grass seed from germinating just as effectively as it stops the weeds. I've watched neighbors spend $300 on seed and another $80 on a weed and feed combo the same weekend, and then wonder in May why nothing came up. If you absolutely have to fertilize, use a plain starter formula, something in the neighborhood of an 1:8-2:4:1:2 ratio, applied at half the bag rate about 10 days after you see the first blades emerge. The Amish approach, of course, skips the bagged fertilizer entirely and uses a thin top dress of well-composted manure in the fall, but that's a topic for another video, and I don't want to lose you in the weeds here.